Hey guys, Jim here. Time for a long-awaited video. I've had a lot of people hit me up on Instagram going, listen, you got your 0801cf so quick, why haven't you done a review yet? Because I ordered two, and it took one like an extra week to get here, and I'm not sure why. And I kind of wanted to have the whole family together before I did this video. So let's take a look at the brand new Zero Tolerance ZT0801cf Copperhead Limited Edition designed by Todd Rexford. Oh, that's a hell of a mouthful, but that's the whole name as listed by Zero Tolerance. This thing is pretty damn awesome. It's hard sometimes to get really excited about a production knife when you've gotten to the point where mostly what you buy are customs. You know, it's kind of like getting a hand job from a fat chick. It may feel really good when you get a good one, but it's still nothing to be all that proud about in some circle of friends. Now, lucky for me, I don't really have an ego when it comes to that shit. I mean, you guys have seen me on occasion carrying my $40 Spyderco Tenacious. I like what I like, regardless of what the price is. And I friggin' love this knife. But I do want to warn you that there are some inconsistencies, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. First, let's talk about the knife in general and make some quick comparisons. Now, first off, you have the exact same dimensions as the original 0801, which we have here. Now, I don't have a bone stock one. Mine was the one that was, and you guys probably saw the video already, modified by Will Moon, where he put the new blade in there, his custom heat treat, his grind. We did all the satin work, the blue anodizing, removed all the black stuff, all the black pivot and hardware and stuff. And then my buddy Brian, who you can reach through Instagram under @IronwoodFanatic. He's the one that made this cool Damascus clip. And he's actually making a clip for my CF as well. We're going to be doing a 3D sculpted carbon fiber clip that will match the LVA carbon fiber in the inlays and give it the proper look. And that, by the way, is the one single only thing that I want to change about this knife. They hit a home run. Design-wise, they hit a friggin' home run. So you've got the same dimensions, still a 3.5-inch blade, and it feels like a more compact knife than it actually is. Now, this is the flipping action on my original 0801. Will did not have to do any tuning to it. This is how it came the day I got it, bone stock. Fantastic, quick little flipper. I've already said it, this is one of the best production flippers that's ever been on the market, period. It just feels good. Now, when we get past that, you've got the differences here in these two. This one, if I push button it, it's good. It works almost every bit as good as my other one. But it's got almost no detent. And I mean to the point where when I opened the box and I pulled it out and did that, I went, that doesn't flip like my first one did. And I actually had to go in there and look to see if there actually was a friggin' detent ball in there. That's how poor that one is. But this one, ho ho ho. Very strong detent, and it comes ripping out of the frame. And once you get it past that detent, drops right into place. So this is the one that will be in my pocket all the time. This is the one that will be kept kind of mint condition. Now, as far as the design of it, I'm a big fan. I wasn't such a big fan of the original, which is why I almost never bought one. And then it grew on me once I started listening to everybody else saying what an incredible flipper it was. I just went, screw it, I can find a way to modify it. I don't like the mill lines that are in it. There's just things about it I'm not crazy about. But now I'm happy with it the way that it sits. But this knife, ho ho ho, we'll start here at the blade. Now, instead of doing LMAX, since production companies have not had good luck with LMAX, LMAX really needs to be treated with baby gloves. Once it's heat treated, you can't go burning through the heat treat because you have a whole stack of blades over here that you've got to get ground and get them out the door. A custom maker doesn't work like that. So that's why when you buy a custom knife in LMAX, you're getting one of the best edge retention, longest lasting steels that you're gonna get your hands on. But in a production knife, not so much. So on this one, they switched over to M390. There we go. Focus, focus. M390 is a fantastic steel. Holds a great edge. It takes a nice finish, like satin finishes and whatnot. It's just an all-around really, really good steel with great anti-corrosive properties. Now, these are all machine ground blades, and you're going to see that they actually did a really, really nice job on that kind of machine satin finish. Now, if you're thinking, oh, that's unacceptable, it's the same way that the Bodega is done. And it looks almost identical. And this is obviously tremendously more expensive. Now, I'll be honest with you, this flips a little better than this. This, not so much. So, you've got a great finish on the blade. Then you'll notice you've got this brown. It's not really brown. It's supposed to be brown. It has copper undertones to it, which is why they nicknamed it the Copperhead. But it actually comes out more of an aubergine. Aubergine is a very, very deep, rich flavor of purple. And that makes me love it even more. So the way the blade is done, they basically coated the entire blade. Then they have ground the swedge and the primary bevel, then your secondary bevel for your edge. So that leaves all of the aubergine all around the spine, down to the tip, on the flats, and up around here, around the pivot. Which means when you've got this closed, I love this view right here. All you see is the aubergine. No steel, no nothing, just that beautiful, deep, rich, brownish purple. I find that to be sexy. I've never seen another knife done in this particular color. So it's not really an anodized knife. This is actually more of a coating. So I would tell you to exercise caution when carrying this knife. If you want to keep it looking pristine, you're probably going to scratch through that coating if you're, handling it rough. I love the inlay work. Really, really high quality LVA carbon fiber. Beautifully done. Then you've got this mill work here for this groove going up and around. Then they've created this little picture frame window. So when the blade is closed, you can see the blade inside of the frame. And when you flip it open, it exposes the Zero Tolerance name. And as we shine some direct light in there, you'll see it's anodized really, really nicely. Well, they've also anodized around the lock bar, and on this one it showed up a lot better. Get the light back there where it belongs. So you have this rainbow effect around the lock bar. And that's also what you're going to get. A little bit more green in there though, but it will go into rainbow colors. And then around the lanyard openings, you'll see it's anodized in there as well. They just did a superb job putting this together and making a damn good looking knife. Now, one of the things that most of us disliked about the 801 was an all silver tone look, an all gray look, because these were matte bead blasted with black hardware, and it was just an eyesore. But here, the theme of the knife is all this aubergine and black with the carbon fiber. So having the black hardware doesn't look out of place at all. That's why I'm not going to bother to change it. I wouldn't want these to be a satin or any kind of silver tone on there because it doesn't work with the rest of the knife. So you've also got more hardware on this. You've got screws holding the inlays in place. On any normal knife, I'd probably give that a little bit of a minus. On this knife, because it's got this very industrial and almost futuristic look, the screws work. It brings out that mechanical look that they were obviously going for with this design. So I think it works. One thing I don't like is because they're trying to satisfy so many people, they made a reversible pocket clip, so you've got these two holes over here also, so you can carry it if you're a lefty. That's great and all, but it just takes away from the look for me. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. That's all I can really fault them for. The only things I don't like are going to be the clip, very basic, standard fare, which again, you're buying a production knife. And you shouldn't expect the world's greatest sculpted clip, especially for this price. But once again, Zero Tolerance has to put a fucking billboard all over their blade. And I don't get why they have to junk their knives up. You've already got your logo here on the clip, which is really a good place for it. You could put whatever you wanted inside of the liners, or inside of the frame, I should say. But instead, you've got to put a big long model number, then your parent company, then USA, then the blade steel, then the Rexford design, and then the serial number. Holy shit, man. Maybe when I buy it, I should register it with you so I can send it back and you can engrave my fucking social security number somewhere on it. There's no need for this. They really need to stop this shit. Because they take all this time to design really, really good-looking knives and then execute them with a high degree of quality. And then they junk it up like a flea market special. I'll never understand it. And that's why I have this extra blade here that's completely sterile. All it's got is just Will Moon's signature on there since he did the work on that. That's it. And even that's very, very subtle. Take a cue, ZT. Seriously. You got a hell of a great knife here. There's no reason to take away from it doing this silly shit. So overall, I think the biggest thing to discuss is going to be, is it a big enough difference from the 801 for you to spend the extra money or go through the extra hassle of trying to find one? And then is it worth the money that's being charged? Well, let's get this out of the way first. The MSR is $320. Totally fair in my opinion. The two that I bought, I paid $269 because there was a map pricing error by the initial dealers that got them, and they sold them for $269. Now they're going to be, when they get replenished, they're going to sell them for $320. I was very happy with that deal, obviously. And nobody knew it was a pricing mistake. Nobody even talked about that till after I received my first one. The people went, oops, we made a pricing mistake. In the future, they're all going to be $320 because that's what the actual MSRP is. So that's neither here nor there. So at the $320, is this knife worth it? If you get one that's set up as good as this one, I tell you right now, if I paid $500 or less, I'd still be just as much in love with this knife. I think it is absolutely worth it if that were the actual price. Would I overpay from $320 to $500? No, because that's not what it's worth at that point. So here's the thing. It's a numbered limited edition. They're claiming they're going to make 1,000. We know that Zero Tolerance has not always been correct on what they've said as far as that goes. So who knows? Maybe there'll be 10,000 at the end. Nobody knows. As seems to be customary with ZT, the initial shipment went out to a small number of dealers, and those dealers each got small quantities. Most every dealer I spoke with got 5 knives. That's it. That's why they sold out so quick. Now what happens is, because of this, and because in the past we have seen as many as 6 months pass between the first and the second shipment, people know that that might happen. They're buying up everything they can, and the secondary market has already exploded. So they went from $320, dealers are now selling them if they have them for $400. Well, that's not the biggest, form of abuse. But now we're seeing them hit $450 and $500 on eBay. That makes me think next week, 2 weeks after it released, I think it's going to be somewhere in the $900 to $1,000 range on eBay, on the secondary market. Would I pay any of that? No, because that's not what the knife is worth. This is not a hand-built custom. It's not a one-of-a-kind. It's not, oh, hey, I collaborated with Todd Rexford and we only made 10 knives. This is a production knife that there will be more available. And when that happens, do you want to be the guy that paid $700 or $800 for it, and then a month later it's everywhere for $320? That's all I'm saying. Now, as far as the quality of the knife, I got to tell you right now, this would stand up to any $400 or $500 knife out there. Mid-tech, some of the lower end customs, and certainly better than most every production knife I've handled. Just the fit and finish on this is that good. The 801 was nice. This is a really good EDC, but it wasn't really refined. Even my pimped out version here does not display the level of refinement that this one does. All the lines are clean. All the chamfering that's been done on the frame, all the way around this little window, in between the lock bar, the whole lock bar cut out. All this in here, this was, they were very meticulous with this knife. It is very, very, very well done. The inlays are wonderfully done. Now, they're not complete inlays. I look at them more as overlays. They are set in. They are actually inlaid into the titanium, because as you see, the titanium has been pocketed out for it. But they do stick up. This is very much like what Chris Reeve does with the Sebenza on his inlay models. So you do feel them. They do stick up a little bit. But they are flawless carbon fiber. It's almost like they're fake. They're so perfect. The little design cues that they've done, that cutout window, the milled line kind of breaking apart the knife, giving it a little bit more dimension. The color. Oh my God, the color. It's incredible. It is truly a beautiful knife. As a matter of fact, when I started posting pictures of it on my Facebook, I have a lot of people that follow me on Facebook that don't care about knives at all. And I've had more than one person comment already, I'm not really into knives at all, but damn, that is really awesome. Because it does have a wow factor to it. There's something just cool about the design. It's a great size. It feels great in the hand. Both of them came very, very sharp from the factory. They took a lot of time with this knife. So if you see it at the 320 or at 400, friggin' jump on it, man. Seriously, just grab it. I think you're just going to be happy to have it in your collection. As far as overpaying, well, that's entirely up to you. Plenty of people overpay for shit all the time. It makes no sense to me, especially on a production knife, but it is what it is. I would think that if you spent over $500, you'd feel that this is lacking, that you could have gotten something better for that same amount of money in another knife. You could be buying custom knives at that point. But money aside, this is just well built. This has got Kershaw's proprietary bearing system in there that works very well. It's very smooth. This particular one has a very good flat face detent. The ergonomics are totally acceptable. It's not the most ergonomic dream I've ever had in my hand, but it still feels nice. And for such a compact knife, especially for one that looks as small as it does folded up, it really is fantastic. They used a premium grade steel. They did some beautiful finish work. They give you something unique. And that's something that as a collector of anything you always strive for. I want something that's unique that not everybody else has. So you have a finish on here that goes from brown to purple, then has cool anodized highlights. Works better when it's closed. There we go. You have a numbered limited edition. So there's a lot of cool factor to it. It's definitely one that I'm going to keep in my collection. I will most likely keep both in my collection. I'm not sure how long that'll last. I've done that before. Like right now, I've got two bodegas. I've done that before, twice before, and I've always sold the other one and kept my red. My red will never get sold. Now I've got my carbon fiber. I'm happy, but at some point I always kind of think to myself, well, I'm chasing this grail, and do I really need two of the same knife over there? I could get rid of that one, and that generates some money toward the grail. So, you know, it's hard to say. But I am overjoyed with this knife. I've carried it quite a few times since I received it last week. And I find myself flipping it and playing with it as much as I do, you know, a $2,000 custom. It's every bit as satisfying. It's every bit as fun. I've been enjoying the shit out of this knife, and I think you will too. So that's just my thoughts in a nutshell on this. I think the size is fantastic. It really is in a lot of people's comfort zone. The performance, the action is incredible, but there is an inconsistency, so please be aware of that. If you get one that's got a shitty detent, send it back, get yourself another one, and chances are it's going to be like a Jekyll and Hyde. So don't give up on it if you get one that has a crappy detent. Trust me when I tell you there is such a significant difference between numbers 492, which is my good detent, and 723, which is my crappy detent. Huge difference, night and day. So don't give up if you get a bad one. Just try again. I think it looks stunning. And you know what? It's an affordable price point. $320 is still a lot of money for a lot of people. I don't want to downplay that fact. But if all you're carrying is mid-techs and customs and you're spending crazy amounts of money, every now and then it's nice to find something that is half the price of what you normally spend, or a third of the price, or a tenth of the price, that you actually will carry, not just because it's inexpensive and you don't mind beating on it. That's obviously the reason that you want it, but that it's actually so nice and so much fun that you will carry it, that you're actually going to enjoy it. I mean, I got this the day after I got my Diskin Fire, and you guys saw how much I love my Diskin Fire. This kicked the Diskin out of my pocket for like 2 days straight. And I still had a new honeymoon love affair with the Diskin, so kind of crazy. All right, guys, I'm out of here for now. Thank you, as always, for watching. Check in with me on Instagram, at Jim Skelton TV, and keep your eyes peeled for some really fun stuff I'm going to be posting up there over the next few days. All right, I'm out of here. I will see you guys on the next video.